Trail Seeker Adventures heads to round 7 of the Sxcs in Burlington, West Virginia.
We hit the hills with our pit bikes and then take them onto the track.
I take you a few laps around the pit bike track.
I hit the course with the girls in the morning race.
Of course, I take you on the afternoon race just to show you what the Sxcs was all about. Let's check it out. The 2021 race season is wrapping up, and this is round 7 of the Sxcs 9-round series.
The best thing about this weekend was everyone getting back together again. We hadn't raced for almost a couple months, so it was great to see everybody back at the track.
Of course, this weekend is all about racing. Yes, racing. But before we get to the race event, let's talk about Saturday.
We started off the evening before the pit bike race with the Ken Hill Challenge. Now, all of you who are involved in racing of some sort knows probably about GNCC, and Ken Hill is their photographer. Unfortunately, he is going through a lot of medical issues, and we decided to take donations and get our pit bikes and see if we can make it up the hill.
It started out just to see who could make it to the top, but of course, being racers, it became a race to the top. But this wasn't the first event of the day. We started out the day with a trail ride. You could come out, ride with your friends and family, and get your bike ready for the race.
But don't forget, before that, we had the little kids on their Stacyc bike hitting the course themselves. But now it's on to my turn on the pit bike race. And as you can see, I got taken out at the start. And unfortunately, I think maybe here I somehow flicked the choke on the bike, which is located on the handlebars on the SSR, and had to make up some time. And I kept stalling out, but this track was proven to make passes very difficult. So in this moto, which is the first of 2 motos, I actually take myself out by running into the trestle head first, just trying to make up too much time too fast. And then on the second moto, I ended up second, which that moto holds more weight and points, and ended up second for the evening. Miss Cheney did awesome. She got first.
And now it's my turn to try to do the best I can on the SSR 150. Pulls out the whole shot, but Earl is sneaky and cuts to the inside, catch me by surprise, and I take out a few people with me. Unfortunately for them, I'm able to get it up and get it going, and going to try to run Earl down. That is not going to be easy. Old T-Bone Earl is fast no matter what he gets on. I'm yet to beat this young man. I'll give you a few laps of what it's like to run a pit bike race at the Sxcs. I see him up there on his Yamaha T-Bone Cycle Works sponsored machine. Start running into traffic. I see that I'm gaining on him a little bit. He's slipping and sliding. I've got some Michelins on the old TTR. I come up and I see him up ahead of me. I never really expect to catch Earl. See, he got a little squirrely, gassed the OSSR and got around him. To the front we go. But you can never count Earl out. He is a very aggressive rider to have behind you, and to be honest with you, he makes me nervous. Unfortunately, I hit one of these whoops on the second lap, and it took my brake pedal and wrapped it back underneath my foot peg, so I had no rear brakes. But at this point, I can't worry about that. I just kept her in second gear and ran the old SSR as hard as I could, hoping that I could get slowed down in each turn. Unfortunately, he gets around me. Doesn't surprise me. Earl always gets around me. He's fast, no matter what he's riding. Had an awesome time at the Sxcs. They always come up with things for their riders and spectators to do or watch. It's a good group of people to be around. Come out Friday evening, camp, and you'll have a full day of activities on Saturday and then race day on Sunday. As we come into the checkers, it was pretty much the same thing on the Moto 2. I got the whole shot. Actually, I think he got the whole shot. And I got around him in turn 2. But it didn't last for about a half lap. He got around me. I was hoping he was going to slip and slide a little bit, but he held it together. And we ran 1 and 2 in both motos, 1 and 2. Always a great time racing Earl.
Alright. Mod 110 on the line.
I have no rear brake. Oh, man. No rear brake the whole race.
I always seem to have an excuse, but I think if I was on a 450, Earl would still beat me around this track. What a great time. Now it's race day. Sunday morning starts with the youth, and this is the 50 class, getting ready to hit the track. The Sxcs crew laid out an awesome track for these young riders, and there were battles throughout the day. No matter your age or your skill level, there's a class for you here at the Sxcs. It was an awesome weekend, and we had a little rain on Saturday, but here on race day Sunday, the dirt was perfect.
Well, it's my turn, which is the morning race. And one thing that the Sxcs does is they let the C riders race by themselves, which to me is fantastic, and the BA and pro riders race in the afternoon. This gives us a chance of not having as many people on the course and not getting taken out. So I do pretty decent there. In my line, we have the women's 40 and the women's C class lining up, and it was a pretty good line. I was really excited about it. There was a couple riders who had never even raced a race before, so it was good to see them out there. I think I'm third in the woods.
Doesn't matter how old your bike is, the Sxcs has a class for you, and it's good to see Christian back out here on his vintage bike.
I ended up loving this track. It had everything. It had hill climbs, roots, some shelly rock, some creek crossings. It was a fantastic laid out course by Billy and his crew. I ended up second in my class, which is a women's 40 class. And this wasn't bad for me. The girl who got first, she's a really good rider. Her name is Lori, so great job, Lori. After the race, I tried to get on my bike in the parking lot and fell over. And I just want to say I laid it all on the track and was very sore for the next couple days. It was great.
Hey, go down by that little creek.
Where at?
I wasn't sure where she was talking about, but I love getting out
Little
here
creek.
and seeing my wife race her bike.
What is she talking about? A little creek.
Well, I did eventually figure out what creek Heidi was wanting me to get to. I got down there and she had no problems, got right through it. But now it's my turn. This is the afternoon race. The afternoon race has your pro, your A, and your B riders. And it's a 2-hour event. The Sxcs adds to the track. They had Pro Hill, which basically was the same hill climb that the pit bikes was trying to get up. But now it's my turn with the 430 beta RR Race to hit the track. Of course, if you ever watch my videos, that's one of my main complaints about the 2020 Beta 430 RR Race. It turns over slow. Well, I don't know if that turns over any slower than any other bike, but it starts slow. The two racers that jumped out in front of me in first place at this moment is Dave Rose, and the guy right in front of me is Jeff Flynn. He's letting me around. I don't know if he's nervous because I'm around him. Maybe he thinks I'm going to take him out, or he's just a very nice guy. I'm going to say he's a very nice guy. I talked to him before the race. But I need to try to make my pass as quick as possible. Get around him. It did rain yesterday, but the course is very dry. This dirt is awesome on the Xtrainer that traction. You have no problems with traction, but it's very dry at this moment, and I was concerned about dust, so I wanted to get up front as fast as I possibly could, if I could. Catching one of the gentlemen from the 30A class. I'm running the 40A class. We were about the 6th row, just guessing, to take off. First had the pros, and then the A classes, and then the B classes were behind us. This property is very open, so therefore this is going to be a very fast course. You're going to be able to be creative on your lines. I was surprised once I got out a little further how much the track actually got beat up with the morning classes. This is some of the track that we ran last year. It's had a few races on it, but then once we cross the road, it's pretty much all fresh track. Of course, I'm going to get you a full first lap, and unfortunately, being in the afternoon race and all the A riders and B riders are pretty fast, I do catch a few of the class riders, racers in front of me, but after that I really don't catch much on my videos. I think I get about 3 laps in before the battery goes dead. But once I get this full first lap, so you can see what the Whispering Willow Raceway was all about on round 7 of the Sxcs. And then I'm going to put in just a little bit of video of just so you can see how the track kind of developed a little bit different throughout the day. That was not a quick line to the right there, but as you always hear me say, you never want to follow somebody. If he would have fell over or hit a tree right there, I would have been able to get around him. Here, I think he's going to go right, changed his mind and started to come left, but I've already committed and made my pass. As you've seen, we crossed the road, and now we're over here onto some fresh trail. This little section has been ran, but once we get out of these pines, we're up on the side of the mountain that has not seen too many dirt bikes. It is fast, it's flowy. The Sxcs is a bike-only series, and what that means is you don't have to deal with four-wheeler ruts. Now, most of these guys that are out here don't care for four-wheelers. If you know me, I race four-wheelers, but I understand how good it is to get out here on a piece of property that really has never seen too many four-wheelers in its day. Sometimes four-wheelers are nice to get the trails cleared off, but it is a hassle to come out here and have to fight in between ruts after a four-wheeler has raced. But here at the Sxcs, you don't have to worry about that. Just be clever, figure out some fast lines, and throughout the day I would pick lines not because they're faster. Well, eventually they became faster. But I would be searching for new lines, just like this line right here. I go to the left of the tree. To the right, there was a root and a little tree that you had to cross over, but they were smoother. I'm looking for smoother lines. As you know, I am old. I've got some metal in my body holding me together, and it's getting to the point to where I got to think about long term. I got to be able to hit the smoothest trail as I can. So throughout the day, I'm looking for a fresh trail, but you can't get any fresher than this. This is the section for the afternoon only that the Sxcs team has came up with. And as you can see, there's only a few tracks to follow. Other than that, you're basically chasing arrows, at least for this first lap. This was my favorite section. You come down in this little gully, other than there's a root there. You turn, you rip it up the hill, then you turn, then you rip back down into another gully, and then you're back to the top, and then you roll back down. This for sure was my favorite section on the track at round 7 of the Sxcs. The dirt is awesome. What a beautiful, beautiful weekend. The temperatures were cool. People are awesome to hang out with. This is why I come racing. I love getting on my dirt bike, and I love the competition, but more than anything, I just love hanging out for a weekend with awesome people. Coming back down and going across the road back over to the other side of the property. And now we're going back on the trail where the youth bikes and the morning class ran. Got a little log crossing. Don't really think it's much faster. I think the biggest challenge on this particular property, it's not so much the technical part of it, is being able to keep your speed up. The video obviously doesn't show you how rough the trail is getting. It's getting a lot of braking bumps and accelerating bumps. But throughout the day, you'll see where other people has like found a hotline. Like in that corner back there, the rut was to the right. I went to the inside, which most likely is not the fastest route, but it is the smoothest route. And as I've already stated, I'm looking for smooth. always lays out a real flowy track with options, and this weekend wasn't any different. He comes out, he tries to find sections of the property that hasn't been used. It had been so easy for him to just come out and lay out some arrows on the race track that he raced last year, but he used what he had to, and other than that, he pretty much just went out and found some of the property that has not been used and put out some fresh track. If that sounds like something you're interested in doing, this is a cross-country event. The Sxcs, they race 3 different disciplines of off-road. They do the cross-country, which is what this weekend was all about. They also do the sprint cross, which is pretty much if you've done full gas, that's the type of racing it is. They did the US Sprint Enduro this year, and that was what the sprint cross was all about. They're already wrapped that up. Hey Heidi, she's out sitting there on the track waiting for me to come by. But the next race for the Sxcs is going to be in Charlotte Hall, Maryland. That's down below Budge Creek motocross track, and that's going to be on October the 16th. And what that is, a GP is where he'll lay out a course. It's usually a shorter course. It's usually not as technical. You'll go out and you run basically 2 motos on it, 2 30-minute motos. But the cool thing about it is you can sign up for more than one class. Like I typically run the 40A and the 50A. They're spread out to where you can pick different classes that might be in your age group, and you can go out and run several different classes throughout the weekend. And then their last round is going to be at VMP. That's in Richmond, Virginia, and that's going to be November the 21st. Make sure you come out and check them out. Those are always fun, especially if you run a motocross and you want to try some woods event. That is a perfect introduction to the woods racing. Or if you've been sitting on the couch a little too long and the bike's been in the garage gathering dust, that's a good opportunity for you to go out, dust your bike off, put some fresh gas in it, come out, because you're only having to run a 30-minute moto, come back, take a rest, then go back out and hit it again. As I was saying, the track's usually not as technical. They're a little wider, usually a little easier, a little faster. And you don't have to worry about getting ran over by other riders like this is a cross-country event. The one good thing about the Sxcs series, they do have a morning race for the C riders and the vintage riders, and those riders don't have to worry about getting ran over as much as if you were running with your A riders and stuff. So if you're a beginner, it's nice to be able to come out in the morning race. You're only running an hour and a half at the Sxcs morning race, to where the afternoon with the pro and the A classes, that is a 2-hour event. But the GP, you can run as much time as you want. You can run 2 or 3 classes. He spreads them out to where you're able to get plenty of riding in on the weekend. Plus, on Saturday, they'll have a pit bike race, and then also they'll have a trail ride. I think it's Halloween, so most likely there'll be a pumpkin race. There'll be a lot going on on their next event. So make sure you mark that on the calendar and come out and check them out. Alright, so we back across the road. This property has a couple roads that divide the property. It's not a lot of traffic on those roads, so they're able to come across a couple times with no real big problems. This is a part of the track that Billy laid out last year for their sprint cross. It's healed pretty well. It has a few exposed roots, but nothing too bad. The old 430, let me explain what I've done to it. It's completely stock on the suspension. I've been having issues with the rear shock. I did put the extended bladder in it, and that helped it a lot. But then, halfway through the race, it would get too soft to where it was wanting to pogo me pretty bad. So I started out the day with the suspension completely pretty stiff. The front forks are pretty much all the way maxed out on the compression. I'm not sure on the rebound. But then I also, with that extended bladder, it brought this shock, the shock reservoir real close to my exhaust. And that's one thing I don't like about the 430. The pipe gets so hot on this thing. I run this as my dual sport. I throw a license plate and a headlight on it. It's legal for the road. And when you're out riding through town with shorts on, the side of your leg will get red hot. This is a new addition to the trail. Come down on this off camber, brings you down right above the pit bike track, and then we'll come over here and actually go up Pro Hill, which is where they had the hill challenge for the pit bikes. Then back down a gully and then through some field and into the finish. But I noticed as soon as I took off with the bike that I felt the suspension being pretty stiff. But throughout the day, it's the faster I went, the better it felt. But this winter, I'm going to go and I'm going to have the suspension taken care of on this thing. I got the Beta 300RR feeling pretty good. It's not been shutting off. In case you've been wondering what I figured out with the Beta 300, why it would just randomly shut off and then you'd have to stop the bike, wait about 2 seconds, and then it would start right back up. That was the stator. Pretty confident now. I've raced it about 3 or 4 times and I have not had that issue since. Well, that's the first lap at round 7 of the Sxcs. We just came across the finish line. We have a little section that runs down along the creek. This is the creek Heidi was talking about. I guess there was a root or something in there causing havoc with some of the riders, but that just led down here to where we jumped on the track right at the beginning after the start. So now we're just going to go show you some of the hot lines that developed throughout the day. This was one of them. And a lot of the times it wasn't so much that the hot line was so much faster, but as I was mentioning earlier, it was definitely smoother. Okay, this little hot line was actually a little longer. It wasn't shorter, but it was definitely smoother. With the woods being so open, there was many options to get around some of the tougher ruts, rocks, roots, such as this one. There was a pretty nasty root on the right, so I went left. This was one of my favorite sections, but there was a root down in there that it was probably about 4 or 5 inches around, and it was just sticking up enough, and it was not square with the track. I was concerned that somebody was going to come down there because it was such a high-speed area that if they caught it the wrong way, it would run them into the tree to the left of the route. I'll come in and I'll find one of the course marshals and I'll say, hey, Well, you'll hear what I said. But basically, there wasn't a lot they could do with it. They basically just cleaned all the leaves off of it.
Hey, there's a route going out that way and down in a valley. I don't know what you can do about it.
So they went and just cleaned all the leaves off of it to where you could see it a little better. And it was fine. I didn't see no bark off the tree, so evidently the right racers must have been able to avoid crashing. This is one of the sections that had many different little hotlines that developed. I'm going to take this opportunity, in case this is your first video of ours that you've came across. We are Trail Seeker Adventures, and basically what we do, Heidi and I, we bring the video camera on just about every adventure that we go out on. Most of the time it involves a trail, therefore we call it ourselves Trail Seeker Adventures, and that way we may come across a trail that's suitable for you and your friends or family. Most of the time we're at a race event, but you know, not all race events are the same. Sxcs is definitely a different type of race series. They have 3 different disciplines of off-road racing. One of them might be perfect for you. So we bring the camera, bring it around the track, show you what the weekend events were all about. You may have a 1982 Yamaha IT 465 out in the garage, or a brand new 2020 Yamaha YZ250 that you just been looking for a place to go ride. Well, we bring it to the race event, ride parks, whatever we go to, we bring the camera. That way, hopefully you can find a trail that's suitable for you. Make sure you leave a comment if you have any questions, like and subscribe to our channel. That way you won't miss our next event. That might be the perfect opportunity for you to find a trail that you may want to go out and hit. We are Trail Seeker Adventures, and we appreciate everybody at the track that roots us on. I had several guys. I even had a guy stop in the middle of the morning race and said, "Hey, I watch your videos." That's what it takes. We do that. We do these videos not because we like working on a computer for hours for just a 30-minute video, but we do it to help you all find a trail. If you watch my videos, I like finding hotlines, and sometimes I'll find them by accident. I'll come down through here, get a little jacked up, fall off the track, and find an awesome line by accident. I use that line the rest of the day. If you're watching us on a mobile device, there should be a red logo on the bottom right hand side of your display. Just click on that. I think you have to scroll up with your thumb or whatever, however your device you scroll up with, and look for our logo. Tap on that and there should be a subscribe button. Or you go to YouTube, Trail Seeker Adventures, and subscribe that way. Had an awesome weekend of events. Started out with a trail ride, the Stacyc race for the little ones. We had the Ken Hill Challenge for some donations to help them in their times of need. And then we had the pit bike race. That was just on Saturday. Then we got up, the 50s had their race, the youth was out on the track ripping it up. Morning race and afternoon race. Holy cow, what a weekend full of events. Make sure you come out to their round 8 down by Budds Creek, Maryland. As I was saying, that is going to be a GP that is perfect if you have a bike out in the garage that needs dusted off. Make sure you check out their website or their Facebook page. Have any questions, make sure you get a hold of Nancy. She is awesome. We'll get right back to you. As I'm climbing the hill, there's a new line developed here to the right. And then you cut back across to the left. Then you cut back across the right. All this, you don't really get the idea by watching the video how rough this trail actually got. But I was definitely looking for some smooth trail out there. The 430 did awesome. It got pretty choppy. There's probably more can be done with this bike, and I'm hoping to get it done this weekend, or this weekend. That's not going to happen. This winter, to be able to, between hopefully my shoulder being healed up and the bike being tuned in to finally the way I like it. Hopefully next year I'll do a little better. If you've seen Heidi, she is on the 2021 Xtrainer 300. And she's loving that bike. And the reason why we're on betas, Elkins Motorsports, they're a Suzuki dealer. That's the reason why I ran Suzukis for so many years. But they haven't upgraded their machines for the woods throughout the years, so Elkins Motorsports also sells betas, and I got a great opportunity to get a two-stroke, $300R. You've seen me race many times, but I also got a 4-stroke, and love them, both of them. It's just taking me a little while to get used to them. But this about wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe to our channel. You can also subscribe by hitting the logo in the middle of the page. Thank you so much for watching. Until round 8, catch you later.